As the three were leaving the room, Quinn stopped by the door and pointed at the briefcase he had looked at before with Logan. "You're right," Quinn said. "I haven't helped you when you helped me so much. You know that briefcase from before? Well, my system says it was made by Richard Eno." With that piece of information, Logan's thoughts were confirmed. He knew it. "You are my friend, Quinn," Logan shouted as the door shut. The biggest worry looming over their heads had finally disappeared, but that didn't mean they were completely in the clear. While Vorden and Peter had decided to go back to their rooms, Quinn decided he would go visit the girls and update them on the situation. They knew what they were planning to do today, although Layla was happy to help. Aaron didn't want to be anywhere near Fex, and Vorden strongly agreed to this as well. So Layla and Aaron had agreed to stay out of it for the most part and allowed the others to help Peter out. Boys weren't allowed in girls' dorm rooms, and although they usually weren't very strict on this rule, it was currently nighttime, and it would be curfew time, so Quinn was more worried if anyone were to see him. After a knock on the door, he spoke through the door to confirm it was him, and the three of them then went for a walk down the hallway while Quinn explained everything that happened. "So, he won't have to eat humans anymore, and there is no need to get involved with that Fex kid again? Good," Aaron said. After hearing everything that happened, it seemed like they were able to solve Peter's problem with ease, and thanks to the dark marketplace, if another ghoul was created, they would be able to solve the problem a lot easier. "Should I experiment with myself first, before telling the others?" Layla thought. "Just maybe, if I get strong enough I can break free." Still, after Quinn had told them everything, Layla could tell that something else was on his mind. "What's wrong? Is there another problem?" she asked. Quinn then proceeded to tell them the situation with Duke, how they desperately wanted Peter to learn the level 4 Earth ability by the end of the week. The major problem was Peter didn't have an Earth ability, and he was too involved to cut ties. "Wait, did you say the end of this week, this Sunday?" Layla asked. "Yeah, that's what Peter told us," Quinn replied. Layla was visibly shaken after she heard this news, but she forced her facial expression to remain neutral. The message she had received from one of the pure agents was Truedream would be coming at the end of the week. On the same day, they wanted Peter to learn the ability. If the others found out Truedream was coming over, they wouldn't find it a big deal, since he had close ties to the military and would often visit the military bases. But Layla knew the truth. One of the pure group's biggest targets was Truedream. He was the whole reason why the military was able to keep such a strong grip on everyone. The reason why he was coming, of course, was to take students' abilities from them and add them to his men. And Peter had been selected as one of the targets. After finishing their talk, the group decided to leave each other and head for their rooms for the night. When Quinn opened the door, he was surprised to see Vorden rushing over to him. "Quinn, thank heavens you're back," Vorden said. "Peter, he's become a weirdo. He's just standing above his head and won't listen to anything I say. I was trying to relax, listen to some music, but I can't with him just standing there staring. What the hell happened to him?" Quinn started to laugh nervously. It looked like Peter had changed more than he thought. "Peter, you can rest. Why don't you lie on the bed?" Peter did as asked, but when lying on the bed, they noticed he didn't close his eyes. "System, what's up with him?" Quinn asked. "Don't worry, he just recently changed. You have to think of him as a newborn person. He will soon start to do things on his own more often, but now that he is an undead, he will no longer require any sleep," the system replied. Seeing this made Quinn a little upset. The old fragile, scared Peter had completely disappeared and was no longer there. Even though Quinn had saved him, had he? It seemed like Peter was now an entirely different person, and he didn't even know who he was looking at anymore. Inside the girls' room, Layla herself was having trouble sleeping. There were 3 days before Truedream would arrive on campus, which meant she had 3 days to figure out a way to tell the others what was going to happen to Peter, without revealing who she was. The sun had finally risen. A few people around the school had struggled to sleep through the night, and Layla was one of them. Throughout the whole night, she had been pondering how to inform the others. She had already made up her mind that she needed to warn them, but couldn't figure out how. She didn't want to imagine what would happen when Truedream found out that Peter had no ability that could be taken. She was aware of his intentions. From what the boys and Pure had told her, Layla had accurately deduced the specifics of Duke's plan. Every term, Truedream would visit a different military base. However, it turned out that he had visited a particular one more often than the others, and that was Military Base 2. This was the reason why Layla had been sent to this place. Something strange was going on with Military Base 2. They hadn't been able to figure out what yet, because so far every agent they sent had disappeared. Thus, they decided to do things differently this time, so instead of sending a grown-up, they decided to send an agent, who was at the age of the draft, a student. The reason for Truedream's visit was to acquire different abilities from students. Every time that Truedream used his ability, it would also increase his ability level along with it. His skill bypassed almost all the information that they had about mutant cells. After taking someone's ability away, he could then implant the ability into a new person. Their body would automatically get the same ability level as the one that was taken. Nevertheless, they would still need to take the time to get familiar with the ability and learn all the skills. This was why they were offering Peter a lot of ability books, and it also explained why they were hurrying him to get his ability to level 4. There were always certain criteria when it came to choosing which students to use for this. The first and most important criterion was they should never hail from an original family. Although Truedream's family was one of the Big Four, usually other originals were also part of the Big Four or under the banner of one. So this criterion was added to avoid a war between the Big Four. They needed students who wouldn't stand out so that people wouldn't notice or care if they were to go missing. As such, another one of the criteria was the student had to come from a poor family, ones with no backing or support. Quinn was still safe because the school believed that at present he had no ability. But both Layla and Peter's abilities were documented, and both of them fulfilled the criteria. It was different for them. There was a possibility that along with Peter, Layla was also a target. Layla had entered the school using false documents. Her family wasn't prominent, but she didn't mind if she was to lose her ability. She had only obtained it for the mission in the first place. The only thing that she didn't want was to end up like Peter and be the military's. She needed an outside person, where she could observe everything that was happening without getting involved. With all things said, she didn't have to warn them about what could happen, but Layla wanted to. The question left was, how should she go about explaining what she had discovered? The morning combat classes had started, and Layla had wanted to team up with Quinn, hoping she would be able to get a hint on what they were planning with Peter. Unfortunately, before she could even reach Quinn, he had already gone off to Fex. Although the two of them didn't talk much, she could see that Quinn was enjoying himself while practicing with Fex. Perhaps it was because they were both of the same race or had something else in common. She could tell a real friendship was beginning to develop. I hope I will have something like that. It all seems so real instead of this fakeness, Layla thought as she looked at her disposition.
Hi, Quinn here. Wondering what happens next? If you want to jump the queue and unleash all episodes, click on the link here and install the Pocket FM app.